$91. Where did you get this estimate? From the place called RPM Motors. Did you have any pre-existing damage on your vehicle? No. How about the other car? Was there any damage to that? No, there was no damage to it. How long would you say you stayed on the street? Maybe 15 minutes at the most. And then what did you do? Then I went to work and told them I was leaving for the day. I was involved in an automobile accident, and I went home and called my doctor, Dr. David Collier. Why did you call him? My back was hurting, my neck, my right elbow. Not very much, just my back and neck. At the time of the impact, at the moment of the accident, did any portion of your body strike any portion of your car? I was jostled on the inside. I flew forward and hit the steering wheel. My elbow hit the dashboard. Your right elbow? Yes. Were you bleeding? No. Did you get any black and blue marks? I had one on my elbow. So you reported to work, told them that you were involved in an accident, and went home? Yes. To whom did you speak? My terminal manager. Who? Jack McDermott. Did you have to fill out any forms? Yes. And then you went home? Yes. And you called Dr. Collier? Yes. And you had pain in your neck and lower back and elbow? Yes. Were there any other physical complaints? No. How long did you see Dr. Collier? I know you say once a week, but for how long a period of time? Let's see. From the day of the accident, September 6th, to the latter part of January. From September 6th, 1990 to late January 1991? Yes. And how many visits did you make to the doctor? I would say 30 visits. What did he do for you? Well, I had neck traction and heat treatment for the neck and back and right elbow. Did you take any medication? Yes, white capsules that I had to take. Did you have any x-rays? No, but I had an MRI. Didn't you go to Dr. Camden for x-rays? That's right. Dr. Camden took the x-rays on December 17th. How many visits did you make to him? Just one visit. Did he prescribe any treatment? Just the same. He gave me the x-rays. He said if the numbness in my hand continued, to come back to him. But it wasn't that bad. He gave me traction downstairs. Was Dr. Collier your family doctor? Yes, he is. Have you been back to him since the latter part of January 1991? No, I haven't. Have you seen any doctors since the latter part of January 1991 as a result of physical complaints resulting from this accident? No. Do you have any more physical complaints as a result of the accident? Occasional pain in my back and headaches, and if I use my arm too much in work, I get a strain. Did you ever have any prior problems with your neck? Yes, I did. What kind of problems? I had a pain in my neck and lower back from a previous accident. When was that? March 3, 1983. Where did that accident take place? Richmond and Venango. What happened? I was traveling in a 77 Ford, and a man in back of me was drunk and he hit me in the back. Who was your doctor in that case? Pardon me? What was Dr. Paul Friedman's connection with the case? He x-rayed my back and neck on the day of the accident. With reference to your accident on March 3, 1983, did you see Dr. Collier for treatments as a result of the injuries you sustained in that accident? Yes. How long were you seeing him? About once a week. Were you still seeing him at the time this accident occurred? No. You had stopped? Oh, 2 or 3 months. You had stopped seeing him 2 or 3 months before? No. I had seen him for 2 or 3 months. Is that because your complaints had disappeared? They decreased enough. But you still had occasional pain? I still had occasional pain, but I had hot tubs. Where was the pain as a result of your accident? My lower back and neck. Your lower back and neck in the same areas affected by this accident we are speaking of today? I had a blood clot in my right knee also. Okay, here we go. Other than Dr. Collier, did you see any other doctors for complaints as a result of your first accident? Just at the hospital emergency ward. What hospital was that? Episcopal Hospital. Just the Episcopal Hospital and Dr. Collier? Yes. How about Dr. Friedman? No. Were any x-rays taken at the hospital of my back, neck, and right elbow? Did you lose any time from work as a result of the first accident? Yes, I believe a day and a half. Right after the accident? Yes. Was there anything after that? No. How about as a result of the September 1990 accident? Did you lose any time from work? Yes, 4 hours. And you returned the next day and have been at work since then? Yes. And you haven't lost any time from work since then as a result of the accident? No. Do you have any appointments to see any physicians as a result of the accident of September 1990? No. Other than yourself and the party that you were involved with, do you know of any other witnesses to this accident? I believe they are still under investigation. Well, do you know of any other witnesses to the accident? Do I know of any? Yes? No. Did you ever injure your back or neck in the areas you described to me prior to the accident in March of 1983? No. Did you ever have any problems with those areas of your body? No, sir. Have you been in any accidents since September of 1990? No. Are you able to perform your job satisfactorily without any physical complaints? Yes. How about sports or any athletic activities? If I engage in them? No. I mean, do you have any difficulty with these activities? No. All right. Tell me about your right elbow. I understand you had some other problems there. When I was 6 or 7 years old, it was double fractured. The bones were fractured. It is deformed now. It was deformed as a result of a fracture? Yes. Is that the right elbow? Yes. How has that injury affected your elbow? It was completely, healed after that. I was using it ever since, but it was, deformed, and the bones were set up in a different way. You injured your elbow when you were 6? Yes. As a result of that, you have a deformity? Yes. After that, did you have full range of motion in your arm? Yes, except for extension. Except for extension? Yes. Since the accident in September of 1990, are there any problems that you had with your elbow now that you didn't have before? When I pull it too much, I get a pain in here. How about limitation of motion? Do you have full motion except for flexion? Yes. Who treated you for that? When I broke my elbow? No, since that time. Dr. Collier and Dr. Camben. There wasn't much they could do. He said if the pain continued to come back, to come to see him. Dr. Camben, that would be? Yes, he said it looked just sprained to him. You had a numbness in the hand. When was that? Right after the accident. How long did that last? It still occasionally does it, but not so often. Is that pain accompanied by the numbness? First the elbow, then the numbness. How long does it last? 3 or 4 minutes. If I hold it, it goes away. Has that diminished at all since the accident? Yes, it has diminished. Thank you, Mr. Chambers. I have no further questions. Here we go. Other than Dr. Collier, did you see any other doctors for complaints as a result of your first accident? Just at the hospital emergency ward. What hospital was that? Episcopal Hospital. Just the Episcopal Hospital and Dr. Collier? Yes. How about Dr. Friedman? No. Were any x-rays taken? At the hospital of my back, neck, and right elbow, did you lose any time from work as a result of the first accident? Yes, I believe a day and a half. Right after the accident? Yes. Was there anything after that? No. How about as a result of the September 1990 accident? Did you lose any time from work? Yes, 4 hours. And you returned the next day and have been at work since then? Yes. And you haven't lost any time from work since then as a result of the accident? No. Do you have any appointments to see any physicians as a result of the accident of September 1990? No. Other than yourself and the party that you are involved with, do you know of any other witnesses to this accident? I believe they are still under investigation. Well, do you know of any other witnesses to the accident? Do I know of any? Yes? No. Did you ever injure your back or neck in the areas you described to me prior to the accident in March of 1983? No. Did you ever have any problems with those areas of your body? No, sir. Have you been in any accidents since September of 1990? No. Are you able to perform your job satisfactorily without any physical complaints? Yes. How about sports or any athletic activities? If I engage in them? No, I mean, do you have any difficulty with these activities? No. All right. Tell me about your right elbow. I understand you had some other problems there. When I was 6 or 7 years old, it was double fractured. The bones were fractured. It is deformed now. It was deformed as a result of a fracture? Yes. Is that the right elbow? Yes. How has that injury affected your elbow? It was completely, healed after that. I was using it ever since, but it was, deformed, and the bones were set up in a different way. You injured your elbow when you were 6? Yes. As a result of that, you have a deformity? Yes. After that, did you have full range of motion in your arm? Yes, except for extension. Except for extension? Yes. Since the accident in September of 1990, are there any problems that you had with your elbow now that you didn't have before? When I pull it too much, I get a pain in here. How about limitation of motion? Do you have full motion except for flexion? Yes. Who treated you for that? When I broke my elbow? No, since that time. Dr. Collier and Dr. Camben. There wasn't much they could do. He said if the pain continued to come back, to come to see him. Dr. Camben, that would be? Yes. He said it looked just sprained to him. You had a numbness in the hand. When was that? Right after the accident. How long did that last? It still occasionally does it, but not so often. Is that pain accompanied by the numbness? First the elbow, then the numbness. How long does it last? 3 or 4 minutes. If I hold it, it goes away. Has that diminished at all since the accident? Yes, it has diminished. Thank you, Mr. Chambers. I have no further questions. Okay, let's start another one. I assume this drug is Nardil, N-A-R-D-I-L, Nardil. Mrs. Bigsley, I want to ask you about a statement that is contained in the complaint and subsequently the amended complaint that's been filed on your behalf, which has been signed by you. Have you had an opportunity to review your complaint or amended complaint recently? Not recently. Would you like to have the opportunity to do that before I ask you this question? Yes. Now you say you were in the Pennsylvania hospital and the drug Nardil was prescribed by Dr. Peck. And you further state that you were given a specific diet which excluded numerous items, including cheese products, which plaintiff did not know can cause a severe life-threatening reaction when mixed with Nardil. That is the statement in your complaint. Is that an accurate statement? Well, if you mean the diet excluded, you were given a specific diet which excluded certain products such as cheese, yes. Is that correct? Yes. And you go on to say, which you did not know, can cause a severe and life-threatening reaction when mixed with Nardil. Is that an accurate statement? What date was that on? Was that in March? Where is the date? March of 1987. I have been told it can cause. I don't actually remember what I was told about it. So you don't know whether that's an accurate statement or not? I think it's an accurate statement as far as it goes. It has since been explained to me that aged cheese can cause a reaction. Who explained it to you subsequently? Well, I talked with another doctor that said it's aged cheese. That's what I'm asking. That was the doctor that I went to see. That was after you filed the lawsuit? That's right. From March of 1987 up until the time you filed the lawsuit, did you or did you not know that cheese, when mixed with Nardil, can cause a severe and life-threatening reaction? Until the time I filed the lawsuit, because actually I had had a reaction prior to filing the lawsuit. I had had a reaction prior to having the stroke. So that you did know it? I did know it after I had a reaction to it. I knew it. But in March of 1987, I didn't know it. When did you have the reaction that gave you this knowledge? When did I have the reaction that gave me the knowledge that certain cheese can cause a bad reaction? I'll tell you. It was June of 87. I believe it was in 1987. Before June of 1987, had you been instructed by anyone not to consume cheese while taking Nardil? I had been on an MAO inhibitor at Pennsylvania Hospital, and I was told to avoid chocolate and yeast and cheese. Who told you that? The dietitian at Pennsylvania Hospital or the psychiatrist at Pennsylvania Hospital? I don't remember which. Do you remember a name? My psychiatrist there was Dr. Grant. Do you remember whether it was he who told you that? I don't remember. I think they just handed me a diet list, and perhaps I got one of those from Germantown. I just don't remember. What was the name of that MAO inhibitor? Parnate. What was your understanding when you were given Parnate as to what an MAO inhibitor was? I don't really have much of an understanding when I was given Parnate. I was just told it was a new kind of an antidepressant to knock off the depression. Did they mention it was an MAO inhibitor? They may have said that it was an MAO inhibitor, but I have no idea what they meant by it. When you were prescribed Nardil, were you told that it was an MAO inhibitor? I don't remember. At the time you were given Nardil, had you ever heard the phrase MAO inhibitor before? Yes, when I was given Parnate. And if I understand your testimony correctly, you just don't remember one way or the other whether you were told that Nardil was an MAO inhibitor. I don't remember. No, you're right. I don't remember. Was it while you were hospitalized at Germantown that you were prescribed Nardil? The second time, yes. The second time you were hospitalized at Germantown? Yes. Was the first time you had been prescribed Nardil? Was the first time you had been prescribed Nardil? Is that what you're saying? Yes. Am I correct that the first time you saw Dr. Peck ever in your life was during your second hospitalization at Germantown? No. When did you first see him? On the first hospitalization at Germantown, which was when? I don't remember the date. Those months are a blur to me. Maybe January, maybe February of 1987. I believe it was 87. Are you sure that Nardil was not prescribed by Dr. Peck during that first hospitalization? No, I remember the drug that was prescribed for the first time, which was what? Nortriptyline. Nortriptyline. Was it explained to you what nortriptyline was? An antidepressant. Was there any further explanation as to why this drug was given to you by anyone? No. Did you make any inquiry of anyone as to what the drug was other than it was an antidepressant? No. Do you know what the PDR is? Yes. Have you ever had occasion to look in the PDR during your nursing career? Oh yes. Where would you go to look at the PDR if you were so inclined? At the place where I work. At that time you worked at the St. Mary's Hospital? St. Mary's. So that you knew where to look in a PDR if you were so inclined? Yes. Did you ever, before March of 1988, look at the PDR with reference to Nardil? Before March of 1988? Yes. When? Lots of times. When you say lots of times, could you give me an estimate as to how many times is lots of times? No. More than 2 or 3 times? I used to look up drugs. Nortriptyline. 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 Have no clue. Have to look it up in the PDR. She's a nurse and she didn't look it up. Here we go. When you say lots of times, could you give me an estimate as to how many times is lots of times? No. More than 2 or 3 times? I used to look up drugs. But I am asking specifically with regard to Nardil. When I was told I was put on Nardil, yes, I looked it up in the PDR. And did you at any time after that first time that you looked at the PDR, up until the time that you had your incident in March of 1988, look at the PDR again with reference to Nardil? I don't remember, but I don't believe so. At the time Nardil was prescribed to you, did you have any conversation with any person regarding Nardil? Any person? You are talking professional person? Well, let's start with professional person. Other than my own doctor? Who was your own doctor? Well, Sandy Peck was the doctor at the time prescribing Nardil. Did you have a specific conversation with Dr. Peck about the Nardil at the time it was prescribed for you? I don't remember. Can you clarify that? Well, any conversation about anything at all relating to Nardil? Let me start the question again. At the time Nardil was prescribed for you by Dr. Peck, which as we have said was during the second Germantown hospitalization, you said at that time you looked up Nardil in the PDR. What I want to know now is, did you have a conversation with Dr. Peck regarding any aspect of the Nardil at that time? I can say as far as prescribing it and as far as her saying it's a potent medication and had been prescribed under hospitalized conditions. Do you remember anything else that she may have said about Nardil at that time? See, I don't recall. Are you saying that she may have said other things but you just don't remember? I just don't recall. Is that what you are saying? Yes. What I am trying to get at is it possible that there were other things that were told to you that you just don't remember today? Is that correct? Yes. Let me make sure I am right on this. You have said that you remember Dr. Peck saying about the Nardil. If Dr. Peck were to testify that she said other things, would you disagree with her testimony in that regard? I just don't know. During the second Germantown hospitalization, when the Nardil was prescribed, did you have any conversation with anyone other than Dr. Peck regarding the Nardil or any dietary restrictions that were required to be followed while taking the Nardil? See, I don't remember. Do you remember talking to a dietitian about that? I remember seeing a dietitian. I don't recall if I spoke to her about the restrictions on it. I told you I don't recall if Germantown gave me a diet list or not. You just don't remember one way or the other whether you had a conversation with a dietitian? I had a conversation with a dietitian. I can recall having a conversation with a dietitian about several things. Number one, I had an almost zero appetite, and she was trying to find things that I like to eat. So I am not going to say I didn't have a conversation with a dietitian, because I did have. My question was a little more specific. I'm just saying I don't remember her saying anything to me about restrictions on Nardil. Not that she didn't, I just don't remember. May I have your full name and address, please? John Chambers, 1135 East Lansford Street, Philadelphia. How old are you? 31. Are you married or single? Married. When were you married? Let's see, it was 1982, November 26th. Do you have any children? Yes, one. What is the extent of your formal education, sir? 9th grade. And by whom are you employed? Devon Apparel. Where are they located? 3300 Frankfurt Avenue. How long have you been employed by them? 4 years. What do you do there, sir? Head shipper, shipping supervisor. Do you have any other kinds of part-time jobs? No. Did you back in September of 1990? Oh yes, wait a minute. No, sorry, no. What is your present salary at Devon Apparel? Presently $9 an hour. How many hours a week do you work? 35. And are you a member of any union? No. Do you have any idea what your gross earnings were for the year 1990? I believe it was $21,000. Is your wife employed? No. The address where you live, is that an apartment or a home? No, it's an apartment, the first floor. You were involved in an accident on September 5, 1990, is that correct? Yes. What time of day was it? 7:45 a.m. Where did the accident occur? At Ontario and Weekle Street. How far is that from your home, sir? 4 miles. And whose car were you in at the time? Mine. What kind of car was it? 83 black Chevrolet. How long had you had that car? About a year. You were the owner? Yes. Who was in the car besides yourself? Just me. Did the car have a current inspection sticker on it? Yes. Was it light out at the time of the accident? Yes. What were the weather conditions? Clear and dry. Is the intersection of Ontario and Weekle Streets controlled by any type of stop sign or red light? There was a stop sign on Weekle Street on the left. That would be for traffic going which way? Going on Ontario. Weekle Street is a one-way street, is that correct? Yes. And is it one-way westbound? Yes, going westbound. And Ontario Street is a north and south street? Yes. On what street were you traveling? Ontario. And in what direction? Going south. Where did the accident happen? At the corner of Ontario and Weekle. At which corner? Can you describe which corner? Right on the corner of Weekle and Ontario. Well, is it the northwest corner or the southwest corner? Northwest corner. Were you moving? Was your automobile moving at the time of the accident? Yes. You were moving in a southerly direction? What did you say? You were moving in a southerly direction? Yes. You were going south on Ontario, is that correct? Yes. How long had you been on Ontario Street? About 15 minutes. I just came out of a parking place. Pardon me? I just came out of a parking place. Where were you parked? How far were you from the accident? 2 car lengths from the corner behind a gray Cadillac. 2 car lengths from the corner? Yes. How long had you been parked there? About 5 minutes. Why were you parked there? I went in the cafe to get a coffee. I do that every morning. Did you get coffee to take out? Yes. And take it to work with you? Yes. What is the name of the cafe? Well, it's Frank's Luncheonette. Oh, okay. So you had started up from your parking place, is that correct? Yes. What happened then? I looked in my rearview mirror and I seen a gray Chrysler approaching. It pulled into the right-hand corner of Weagle Street to park, and I pulled out and started going south. So you saw him in your rearview mirror before you pulled out? Yes. And he was coming south on Ontario Street? Yes. And he passed you while you were parked? Yes. What happened next? He pulled onto the right-hand side of Weagle Street. I see. That would have been on the southwest corner, right? Southeast. Frank's is at the southeast corner? Yes. Okay. So you pulled over by Frank's? Yes. How long was he there before you pulled out? Only about 10-15 seconds. What did you do? I pulled out and continued to go down north, passing about 4 feet from him. That's when he hit me. I don't know what he was doing. What part of your car was hit? The right-hand side in the back? The right rear? The right rear along the side? By the wheel well? Yes, well, I have a two-door sedan. From the wheel to the back end. Which part of his car contacted yours? The left side of his car. The left side of his car? It was the rear side. How fast were you going at that time? Maybe 15 miles per hour. I just got started.